For over 2,000 years, the legend of Atlantis has captured the imagination of philosophers, explorers, and scientists alike. A utopian city of vast wealth and incredible technology that vanished in a single day and night beneath the sea. But what if we've been looking in the wrong place all along? What if Atlantis never sank beneath the ocean at all, but was buried beneath the sands of the Sahara Desert? Let's start with the original source. Around 360 BC, the Greek philosopher Plato wrote two dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, describing an advanced island civilization beyond the pillars of Heracles, destroyed by earthquakes and floods roughly 9,000 years before his own time. Plato claimed he heard the story through his ancestor Solon, who had learned it from Egyptian priests. For centuries, scholars dismissed it as an allegory, a moral tale about human arrogance. Yet some archaeologists and independent researchers now believe Plato's account could describe a real civilization. And the most compelling new evidence points not under the Atlantic Ocean, but to the Eye of the Sahara, also known as the Richat Structure in modern-day Mauritania. From space, it looks otherworldly, a series of perfect concentric rings, 40 kilometers wide, rising from the desert like ripples frozen in stone. NASA astronauts have used it as a landmark since the 1960s. It's visible even to the naked eye from orbit. Now, let's compare the details. Plato wrote that Atlantis consisted of circular rings of land and water, surrounded by mountains to the north and open to the south. The Richat structure matches this almost exactly. Rings of eroded rock with what appear to be channels that could once have carried water. To its north, there are indeed mountain ranges, and to the south, open plains stretching toward the Atlantic. Coincidence or confirmation? When we look deeper, things get even stranger. Geological studies show that parts of the Sahara were once lush and green. Roughly 11,000 years ago, precisely when Plato places Atlantis, this region was filled with lakes, rivers, and fertile grasslands. Satellite imaging reveals ancient riverbeds leading straight into the Richat structure. So if Atlantis was an island city surrounded by water, it could have stood here, not in the ocean, but in the middle of what was once an inland sea. Then, when massive climate shifts struck at the end of the Ice Age, floods and desertification would have destroyed it almost overnight. But there's more than just geography. Plato said the Atlanteans mined precious metals, especially Orichalcum, a mysterious red-gold alloy. In 2015, marine archaeologists recovered ingots of an unknown copper-zinc-gold mixture from a 2,600-year-old shipwreck off Sicily. Ancient inscriptions identified the cargo as Orichalcum. If the alloy existed, perhaps its source was in Africa, where unique copper and gold deposits are abundant even today. Local legends seem to echo the same story. In Mauritania, the Berber tribes speak of an ancient empire destroyed by water and fire from the sky. In Mali, griots, traditional historians, tell of a lost city swallowed by sand after the gods grew angry with human pride. The descriptions eerily match Plato's warning that Atlantis fell because it turned corrupt and warlike. So what really happened here? Satellite data collected by the European Space Agency reveals magnetic anomalies and subterranean voids beneath the Richat structure, possible remains of man-made foundations or tunnels. Independent teams using ground-penetrating radar have detected geometric patterns beneath the outer rings. The Mauritanian government has not permitted full excavation, officially to protect the site's natural geology, though some researchers suspect there's more to the story. Skeptics argue that the Richat structure was formed naturally. A symmetrical uplift eroded over millions of years. But nature rarely creates such near-perfect circles aligned to compass points. And there's a clue few people mention: ancient trade routes. If you draw a straight line west from the Richat structure, you reach the Canary Islands, where ancient Greek and Roman writers believed the remnants of Atlantis lay. To the east, those same routes linked to Egypt, where the priests supposedly told Solon the tale in the first place. Could these paths mark the remains of an Atlantean trading network stretching across North Africa? Let's talk about evidence hidden in plain sight. Recent studies of prehistoric North African artifacts, pottery fragments, stone tools, and urban layouts reveal design principles astonishingly advanced for their time. Some display the golden ratio, the same mathematical pattern found in Greek temples and Renaissance art. That ratio appears again in the spacing of the Richat rings. Coincidence? Or a signature of a forgotten civilization that influenced later cultures? And then there's the mystery of the maps. The Piri race map of 1513, drawn by an Ottoman admiral, depicts a remarkably accurate outline of West Africa and even Antarctica, centuries before modern exploration. Historians believe he copied older sources, possibly ancient world maps, passed down from unknown origins. If Atlantis once thrived in the Sahara, maybe those lost cartographers were its descendants. Some geologists have taken samples of the Richat rocks and discovered traces of melted quartz, evidence of intense heat consistent with a sudden cataclysm, not gradual erosion. Could an asteroid impact or massive volcanic eruption have triggered the destruction? Or, as some fringe theorists claim, could it have been a technological disaster, perhaps even nuclear? It sounds impossible. But remember, Plato described Atlantis as technologically advanced, possessing energy sources from beneath the earth. Meanwhile, underwater archaeologists off the coasts of Spain and Morocco have found submerged megalithic ruins resembling breakwaters and temples. Some align with the Azores and Canary Islands, a chain that would have been dry land during the last ice age. Could these have been outposts of the same civilization whose capital lay inland, now hidden beneath Saharan sand? If that's true, it changes everything we know about human history. For decades, mainstream archaeology has held that complex societies first arose around 5,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Indus Valley. But new discoveries challenge that timeline. The monumental site of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey dates back 11,600 years, just after the cataclysm Plato described. Its builders had no agriculture, yet created temples aligned to celestial bodies. If humanity could build that back then, perhaps Atlantis wasn't so far-fetched. Let's follow the trail further. The Sahara itself hides hundreds of ancient river systems, revealed only through satellite imaging. In 2023, a team of French researchers uncovered fossilized shells from freshwater creatures right inside the Richat Structure. Proof it was once underwater. They also found pollen traces from tropical plants now extinct in that region. Plants that could only have thrived in a warm, wet environment thousands of years ago. If the Sahara was once green, the Richat Structure could easily have been the center of a flourishing civilization surrounded by fertile land and waterways. A perfect cradle for Atlantis. But let's address the most fascinating part of this theory: how it all ended. Around 12,000 years ago, the Earth entered a period known as the Younger Dryas, a sudden and dramatic climate shift. Temperatures plunged, rainfall stopped, and massive floods scoured continents. Scientists believe it may have been triggered by a comet impact or a massive solar outburst. This period corresponds exactly to Plato's date for Atlantis' destruction. Imagine this. Powerful tremors shake the land. Floods pour across ancient plains. Entire cities are swallowed by rising sandstorms as the desert expands. Survivors scatter across Africa and the Mediterranean, carrying fragments of their knowledge: navigation, architecture, astronomy. Within centuries, they reappear as the mysterious Minoans, Egyptians, and Sumerians, civilizations seemingly born from nowhere, already advanced. Coincidence or continuity? Now, let's zoom in on modern research. In 2024, a multidisciplinary team using LiDAR scanning, the same technology that uncovered lost Mayan cities, found rectangular substructures beneath the Richat's southern rim. The data isn't publicly available, but leaked internal reports mention man-made geometry inconsistent with natural formation. If that's true, it could rewrite prehistory. And then there's magnetic resonance imaging data that reveals anomalies resembling buried canals, exactly where Plato said they should be. Combined with satellite mapping, these features suggest an urban plan: roads, waterways, and possibly foundations of ancient walls beneath 30 meters of sediment. If you connect the dots, Plato's account matches the geography. Geological data shows the right climate and timing. Local legends preserve the story of a lost city, and cutting-edge technology hints at buried architecture. We may be standing on top of the greatest archaeological discovery of all time, Atlantis, not beneath the sea, but beneath the sand. Still, controversy rages. The scientific community remains cautious, even dismissive. To them, Atlantis is still myth. But as one geologist put it, myth often preserves memory. Memory of real places, real people, real disasters. And when we combine myth with modern science, sometimes truth begins to surface. So maybe the ancient priests were right. Maybe a proud and brilliant civilization once rose in Africa, harnessed the powers of the earth, and vanished after defying nature itself. Maybe its ruins still whisper beneath the Sahara winds, waiting for someone brave enough to dig deep enough. Because sometimes legends aren't meant to stay buried.